With half the world asleep, she braced herself for a final push. And there a small head exposed itself to an unfamiliar world. Quick to remind him that this world would certainly be a harsh one, the doctor whipped a slap on his bare bum, and his innocent shriek filled the room, trumpeting his arrival into our lives. That day, I walked out of the hospital room, no longer a boy, but a man. And one day too, that 1 foot human being will be a man, just like the rest before him. I will sooner than I think address him as my equal, as my father now does, to prepare him for this journey that only fate knows if I'll be part of. I write letters. Letters that will echo a guiding voice to him as he makes his way through life. In these letters, I want him to see the world through my eyes. I want him to see my struggle, my joy, and my pain. But most of all, I want him to see me as any other human being, bent over backwards, trying to sustain the privileges he now enjoys. With these letters, many as they may be, I tell him 3 fundamental things. Work hard, my son. Play harder. And live fully. Working hard. He is now 2 years old. And that may raise the question, how does a 2-year-old work hard? Well, for all it is worth, I see him making his mother do all manner of things I can barely bring myself request of her. That must count for something, right? Be that as it may, one day he will be 16, just as I was when I almost lost faith in myself. You see, my academics had hit rock bottom, and growing up in a world drunk with the notion that good grades equals good life, I was lost. In my letters, I tell him how I chose to push myself, how I let go of my childish prejudices, buried myself in books, and sought for assistance wherever I could find it. Celebrating that victory with me carries with it a pivotal life lesson that a person's own resolution to change is enough to change his life. But working hard is not just about the results. They are only but half of the value gained from the process. You see, having a nice car or driving or having $1 million shillings is not as good as being worth that $1 million shillings. The means should therefore justify the end. What if the good grades and the nice car were suddenly taken away from him? How long would it take to get them back? And how much a better person would the process make of him? Self-discipline, among all the others, is the biggest takeaway in any selfless undertaking. These are the little nuggets of wisdom that I seek to silhouette in the many pages of my letters to Jason. Playing harder. Sports is perhaps the only human activity that restores my faith in humanity. Playing harder is not a spectator sport, but one that requires actively being involved. Yes, he might argue all day about the best soccer team or player in the world, only to silently realize that he wishes for their kind of fitness. In my letters, I narrate to him how I tried my hand in many different sports, the worst being athletics. In my opinion, there is no greater feeling than the initial plunge into the cold water in a swimming event, or cycling to a summit, anticipating a long descent ahead. Playing harder is not about defeating others, but himself. Along the way, a musician will come along, and with his fingers, he will strum away his whole life. In those letters, I introduce my son to the many artists and musicians who have done the exact same thing to me, who have done to me the exact same thing to me. Imagine a stranger, armed with just a tune, singing your life away. Playing harder is about absorbing himself into the beauty of music, the therapeutic nature of which cushions our fall when life pushes us over the edge. Good music should be sought after. He should not depend on the radio playlists and jukeboxes of this world to define his taste. He should never hesitate to press play. Living fully. Experience, they say, is the best teacher, but not necessarily our own. Books will introduce him to a world outside the comfort and confines of our home. Therein, he'll find better teachers, make better friends, lovers, and enemies in equal measure. They will make him laugh and sometimes cry. But most of all, they will make him a wholesome human being. In my letters, all I ask for is a book a week, and I have recommended a few from my shelf. A life without love is not full. In my letters, I open up to my son about the many beautiful lasses prior to his mother that knotted my guts. I tell him about my childish ideologies that most of the time had me at a loss. You see, one day, a girl's beauty will tie his tongue, and her beautiful smiles drown him into a pool of love. I tell him to take the dive, and the tide is high. It may not last. And when it ends, if it does, the pain will be unbearable, but it will be worth it. At the end of the day, love is a beautiful thing. And we all walk this earth only because two people fell in love. Sometimes I worry that Jason might not like my letters. Neither will his unborn siblings, who may later come and find that none were addressed to them. I see him reading my letters with an ugly grimace on his face, wondering whether his poor old father lost his mind. My idea of working hard, playing harder, and living fully in his time might be an outdated one. But one thing is true, that my wish for him, as of any other parent, is that life offers the best to their children. Thank you very much.